Hey there, it's Chris. Welcome back to the sculpting phase of the Yoshitaka Amano mobile platform project. We're making the figure mid here, and it's actually going by pretty expediently at this point. Figure this is now what, session 6 on the sculpting front, and usually around session 6 on the other models I've done, which are twice the size, we're just about kind of starting to carve the details on the shoes and maybe some of the pants at this point. But that's it. We basically just based things out by the time we got here. And here we already have the lower legs already done, hardened. We've started the cloak. We have hands done. We're going pretty quick compared to what you have. So goal this time today is I want to install the hands, make the book kind of up here, kind of finish this cloak. I kind of want to finish it kind of fixed up. I realized last time the profile on here was a little wrong, so I kind of want to tuck the cloak in a little bit before it comes back out. So maybe do a little bit kind of folds, have maybe a button or zipper or something in the front here to kind of make the waist feel a little better than that as the profile. And yeah, basically get this cloak area done so we can harden it. Probably harden this one off camera. You've already seen hardening go, so probably I'll harden it off camera. And then, yeah, next time, hopefully then jump onto the face and or head. But I'll be honest, trying to predict where it's going to be is not going to be the easiest thing for me to do, if only because this is going by so much faster than the other ones that I'm really not sure what I can and can't get done per se in any given amount of time. So what I do want to do is still get this waist a little bit thinner here so it looks like, again, you can see a little bit more of the profile on him than what we have right now. It's not just a block coming down. Give him a little bit of a waist. Okay, too much. Don't need to cut everything off. I'll be honest, it's been a long work day today, so I'm kind of looking forward to this to kind of just take a little break, kind of turn my brain off of things and just kind of do this as a little bit of a, just kind of, I'm not going to say R&R, but kind of in that feel, just kind of rest a little bit from that. It's not like it was a hard day per se, it was just it was physically a long day at work. I was kind of called in to help with a friend who's basically opening up a new store. Grand opening's tomorrow, and they needed a hand kind of getting some things in the physical location done. And they asked if we were around, we could give a hand on that. What we thought would take just like, I don't know, an hour or so to do, wound up taking over 2.5 on top of what I normally do in my my usual workload on the day. So it just wound up being physically a long time on the job. Worth it in the end. Hopefully things work out well and the store and all that hits with the success that they want. But it's all good though. It's all good. Every now and then we get kind of these fun little kind of side things that kind of pop in. And yeah, I did cut a little too much off, so we need to put some of this back. I remember one project we had years and years and years ago. Was helping with an Eagle Scout project that we kind of got called in for because I needed a professional kind of on-site to make sure you're doing an athletic storage shed for kind of one of the local schools. And they needed a builder on there to help use the power tools and kind of give the tips and whatnot on how to actually build a shed. So I remember doing that one for a little while, kind of on the weekends and helping out. Both my boss and I would help out on kind of different weekends until it was done. And that was a fun little thing. Okay, let's see if we can smooth this kind of out. I want to start things kind of smooth before we get to adding the folds and whatnot. 'Cause it's easier starting from just a nice good place than otherwise. I shouldn't worry about down here because we're going to have more clay going underneath that. But you kind of want to start with a nice area and then we can add stuff from there. Get in there. Where are you guys? You're... Get in the hole. I want to make sure that's in. I want to make sure you're down. That's good. And in the end, not much is really changing on this front, so that's cool. That's super cool. So that kind of was about as thin as I wanted that to be, so never mind adding stuff to there. I could add a little bit up top to kind of give a little more of that kind of feel that at least it comes in a little bit, but maybe that's what it needed, just a little bit more kind of shoulder action. Sometimes it's hard to tell what something needs until you kind of just kind of do it. It's like, oh, yeah, duh, that's it. Awesome, we get in there. So when I add the sleeves on this too, that will also help pull this whole thing out. Okay. So let's just say, hypothetically speaking, we got that to kind of work. Trying to attach you is... Hey, there it goes. Trying to attach that sometimes not the easiest thing in the world. Okay. So if I want this to feel like it's coming, it has like a button or something down here, or the zipper is really starting down there. First off, I've been kind of manhandling this thing down. So let's re-put that in there. I'll probably have maybe a couple buttons on the side. We really can't see anything on the side image here, and although I do have that image, which really doesn't have anything going on, I kind of want to have something so at least it feels like this can kind of come together. So let's probably get more clay than this. We need more than that little tiny snake going. Okay, let's see. You're 100% off camera. My nemesis, keeping things on camera. It'll never go well. Okay, so if I have something there, we're going to start kind of coming from, let's say, a button over here. It's going to come around, and it's going to kind of come back to the button down over here. Okay, so let's see if we can... Got my on camera. Where is my camera? Why do I have things over my screen? I don't want things over my screen. Okay, so just like the leg ones, only it's a little bigger this time, but pretty much just like them, we're going to go ahead and smush down a side here. I'm going to smush down the other side and create a little kind of fold that's pulling from this side around. And hopefully this will give the effect I want. No guarantees. I guess this is actually winding up a little bigger than I need, which is fine because I used a little more clay than I wanted, but that's actually going to work out just fine in the end. There's going to be a little bit of trickery and magic kind of coming up. Alright, here we go. Just need to kind of blend the sides in kind of first here before we get to whatever little magic I might have. I'd like this magic to work sooner rather than later too, because I do kind of want to get onto the hands sooner rather than later. I think adding them is going to add a decent chunk. I 100% was not expecting to get to the hands the other day. That's kind of... Usually when I go into these types of things, I have a general idea of what I want to accomplish in any given session. And my brain is so wired towards making the previous models that I've done and like the previous scale that I've done on the others, because I have something like 18 or so, I forget. I'd have to recount how many other models I have at this point. And they're all generally kind of at the same size and scale. So my brain still works off of that. So all of a sudden we hit something like this where it is significantly smaller. And all of a sudden I can't plan for that anymore. And now that being as I had kind of more clay than I needed, I can now just kind of put a little bit in the middle here, and I can put a little kind of button right where that is, and I think we're gonna be okie dokie. Just kind of trailing it off into nothingness. You go down there. Let's do a little bit of the same thing kind of here. We can start right in the middle, and it kind of veers off into a little bit of that V. Now if I put like a little button or something inside of that, it'll look like it's starting from that point. Okay, I do need to put my finger as a backing under here so I can at least make that look kind of right. And there we have it. We have a little bit of that coming down. It gives a little bit of something on there, a little bit of something on the front here. I think I do want to merge that bottom in. As long as I'm close, I can then play with this a little bit. I will definitely be playing with some of this stuff before hardening to kind of make these little areas look a little more correct. But if we have that, once again, my fingers are all over this. I'm going to be kind of recarving this line down the middle over and over and over again. It's just part of the game. But if I have that, I should probably put... Oh, that's not right. That's a little big. Remember, we're dealing with tiny, tiny scale. No! Well, that piece is gone. Let's try this little thing. as well as the other little one. Alright, we're going to need a little bit of playing with that, but at least it gets the basic idea across. Okay, comes to hands. I'm going to do left hand first, and actually I'm going to be glad. This is one of the reasons why I keep extra material on these. I don't just cut off right at the hand, because I'm actually going to, you can see he's holding the book on the side. I'm going to model a book out of clay, and this is actually going to stick into the book to help kind of hold everything together. Because otherwise, if I don't do that, that's going to be putting a decent chunk of weight right on there, and I don't want it to break anything off. So we can actually use this kind of effectively to do what I want. So let's see, I kind of already have a block here that's approximately the size I want. Now I could send this through the pasta roller there, but I can't get this thickness out of the pasta roller, which it's not going to help if I can't get the right thickness. So this has to be a certain thickness to read like a book. So let's just kind of get this start on here. Now, the pile of books I'm dealing with on the side of the model is approximately this big per book. And you can see the ones he's holding here versus on the side, he's holding smaller things than that pile on the side. So to have an open book, I might be able to use roughly that other one's size. Oop. But yeah, height-wise, that seems to be about right. So let's go and turn this into a piece of literature. Then we'll go attach the hand to this, attach that on there. Then we'll see if we can work that sleeve down and see if we can get things kind of looking okay on that front. So just like before when we were doing the carving on the books. Now this is going to be a little more freeform than the carving things are because it is clay. And clay is going to have a little bit of a harder time staying kind of nice and neat and good. So we're going to do what we can on this, but it will have a little bit more of a freeform kind of look, unfortunately. So first off, let's get this back spine kind of coming in here. Whoop. Okay, we got that. Alright, so let's round off that edge just a little, so at least we now have a back of a book. And it almost looks like the book is opened out a little bit, which is unusual. So I'm going to open you in just a little bit so it feels a little more book-like than what he has on that, because that one is opened way too much. Way too much. And I probably don't need that. Okay. So what we do want is kind of like before. I need to carve down just a little bit. Carve down just a little bit. And a little bit. Let's see if we can cut just a little bit off of this. Trying not to go too deep so as to cut straight through it, because that would be unfortunate. Okay, that worked. I think that did what I wanted it to, mostly. Maybe not all the way, but we got mostly. Okay. Oh, we thought making the books was done before. No, no it is not. We've only just begun. We've only turned the first page on making books. Haha. Okay. Okay. A little bit of touch up, but kind of in there. At least now this is making it feel a little more book-like. This is actually going to take... Last session went by faster than I thought. This one's probably... Or I got way more done last session than I thought I would. I think this one's going to be a little more of the opposite. I think compared to last one, this one's probably not going to get quite as much. Although we are still going to go way faster than I would on the other ones. But we're actually doing a little more finer detail stuff this time. So some things will still take time to do to get right. It's just the way it's gonna be. But I think once this book is in his hands, it's gonna look pretty dang good. I didn't carve out the bottom of this. Okay, that actually worked. Alright, here we come. Side number 2. What do we got on side number 2 here? That's carved in a little bit. Now this one's not going to matter as much because I'm going to be having to do more stuff with the pages anyway on this particular edge. But let's at least get it started in here. Oop. Alright, there we go. Come on. Need some of these pieces just let go. Lego. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Okay, I know. Redo that. Redo this. Although I'm still going to keep putting more finger stuff all over everything. It's still, every once in a while, it's worth just not necessarily waiting right until the very end to kind of fix things. Sometimes it's good to every once in a while kind of fix things as we go. It makes life a little better that way. Because sometimes just then winds up being too much stuff to do at the very end. But okay, we're starting to look a little more book-ish. Bring a little bit in over there. Alright, come on again. Nope, 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 come on, get out of here. Get out. Ah! Doesn't want to go! No, let go. Let go, peace, let go. Your job is done. Arg. Okay, that. Nope. Nope, 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 nope. Alright, soften out that. Just kind of wrap it down a little bit. You can. Again, a little bit of painting on this is going to help make this feel a little more correct. this side to do as well. Carve down there. Smooth out this. And all of a sudden we're getting some literature here. Let's get some literature. Adding some pages kind of the side here. As well as kind of re-establishing the line kind of between the cover and the first page. Make sure make sure that one reads well before we get anything else. And there you go. We have a little clay book. Gets the job done. It's a little, there is a difference in quality between clay and not clay on these, but that just kind of is what it is. If we come here, that's going to be, that really is kind of what I want. So let's see, can I do, what I'm going to want is a little hole kind of right down the middle here. Now I'm just making sure when I put the hole in here, it's not going to pop out a side I don't necessarily want it to. So that if I slide it on here, we ought to be just fine. Let's get some of this. In one sec, I have all these little kind of clay pieces all over the ground here. I want to kind of get out before they start sticking to things I don't want them to stick to, because that would be bad. Okay, that said, we don't need the entirety of this. Let me just cut just a little bit off the top of it. Okay. Alright, so if that's going to be there, we're going to need to get, do I have the correct hand? I do have the correct hand on here. And what I should do is actually now, before that goes in, per se, we're going to want to get the hand down in here so that it can actually hold the book. And if you've ever seen my kind of hand videos before I've done, the way I like to attach things is I just put a little bit of a carve down in here, carve that out, pull the little piece out, which is a little easier to do and there's more material to work with on the larger models, but this will work just as fine. And we're going to have that, bam, kind of coming down here. And then this is going to slide down on top. So from the outside, you got a hand kind of holding this thing out here. So that is all in good, but we got to glue this thing on, or else what's the point? If it's not going to stick here kind of permanently, why am I doing this? So let's glue that on there. Put the top of this back on, let it set for a hot second here. And really, actually, I ought to be able to get. Okay, so we have glue now on that, as it can slide in. it's easy enough to paint around these things on here. There's plenty of space and whatnot, so I'm not concerned with having to be able to take this on and off as we go, because I can just as easily paint through everything there. Let's make sure the fingers and all that kind of feel right on this. The thumb sure doesn't. Where is the thumb? Thumb didn't make it all the way around. Alright, thumb. Yeah, good. Get back over here, thumb. Yeah. We need you on this side. Kind of. The hand might actually be slightly small, but I think literally every single other model I've done, I've always made hands way too big. So being small is just a thing that happened. That's not excess clay, that is the other hand. Let's not touch that. Okay, so the job of the glue is not 100% done yet. We would like to add a little more clay right around here. Let's see if we can get a wrist going. We're a half hour in. Okay. So, I'm not going to finish all the stuff I wanted to get done this time, but we are making some pretty good progress, though. But if I can kind of if I can at least now get this hand and sleeve kind of feeling right, that's fine. I can spend the first half of next session kind of working on the other arm, and then maybe the second half of that I can start on I can kind of then disappear, harden it, come back again. We can start working on the face, or something like that. Okay, so just adding some clay to give him a little bit of a wrist. He has a very skinny wrist, so it's not going to be adding too much to this. And then after the wrist is kind of in there, then we'll go and work on the sleeve. I want to turn you a little bit. I do have to get some clay on top of that wire. We don't want to see that wire in the end. That's not a direction I want to take this. Anytime we can hide these wires would be preferable and better. No, don't drop you in weird places. I might be adding just a little more clay to that thumb so it has a little more presence on there, but the other fingers I think are fine. Except the ring finger just feels really, really fat compared to the other ones. I am getting that feeling. Come on, get in there. Yeah, we're pretty dang sure I'm going to be adding more to that thumb. I'm just about done, I think, adding to this wrist. I really don't think it's going to need that much more, but I kind of need to smooth it out. I feel like arms and like anything that has to do with arms, for whatever reason, always feels like a trial for me. They never really seem to go well. Then all of a sudden, I look back and it just works, and I'm like, all right, we're good, basta, done. But arms are always just, I don't know what it is with them. At least on him, I don't really have much to worry about on the arms, because a lot of it is just really, really loose sleeve. That's a little easier to deal with. And loose sleeve is going to start somewhere down in here-ish. And then kind of come back. Let's use this side. Let's use that side on the brush. Now we're going to need a lot more than that. So as I said, we're going to kind of do this in layers, so that we can kind of keep pushing things in. You don't get air pockets inside here. Air pockets are kind of the bane of hardening this stuff. So if we can do this without air pockets, that's good. 'Cause we never want air pockets. All right. Starting to get, oh, it feels like it's leaning so far down, but that's the way it's supposed to be. And I literally can't see anything when it's like that, and I can't hold anything because this thing is still here. It's almost like I should have hardened something first before doing this. But that train has left the station. We're at this point, we're just going with what we got right now. Just hold long enough for me to get more clay. That's all I need you to do. It's going to fight me every step of the way. Having one of those times. We love when this stuff doesn't want to work with us and just wants to fight us instead. I should also keep this thing a little more centered on camera as best I can. So y'all have stuff to look at. Always good. Alright, just keep adding down here. You can see inside it does precipitously get from really skinny by the wrist to really, really wide kind of on the bottom here. So we do need to make sure we have that kind of general flow going on this. Again, get the basic form first before kind of adding any kind of detailing to it. Get the form before folds. You always take a form before function, do a form before folds. That's the way of things. It's starting to get there. I can see where this is going and where it's kind of coming from. Okay. I just wanted to roll that a little bit so we get a little bit something above here, so it looks like the sleeve actually goes around. It doesn't just literally start at the wrist at the top. We do need to have it go. We do need a stark edge between that and his wrist up top here. I'm looking forward to the day I don't need this thing on here anymore, because I know you're still probably staring at it, but that guy also had a really rough day, because during the project at the very end we were doing, kind of helping open up the store, the thing fell off halfway through, and I had kind of left all my band-aids and all that type of stuff in the truck and not kind of with me, and it wasn't really, it's like, yeah, it's good enough. I don't need anything on that anymore. It's just it's just nicer to have that on. So my nail did get, my old nail is now almost completely disintegrated off. What was left on there you saw the other time, most of that is now disintegrated kind of from today's working. So it, finger got a little rough, but it's all good in the end. The new one is growing in actually very fast compared to what it was before, considering it stopped growing for like 3 weeks when it was trying to grow into the dead nail that was there, which wasn't giving at all and caused everything to buckle and was causing more problems. But now that's gone, this thing is back to growing fast again. Well, fast. So I'm okay with that. Oop, what did I just hit? I just hit the button. Don't hit that button. Alright, so if we have that kind of coming in here. Yeah, these, if we do have folds, they're going to be kind of more lateral-ish coming through. And that's what that's kind of wind up being, because everything's getting kind of pulled from up top. It's not pooling somewhere, it's just literally coming from the edge here. Alright, kind of getting a little something there before I kind of review this stuff afterwards and realize why it doesn't look right. Because this is what I get when I kind of do things live on here and I don't 100% have the game plan, how I want it to look, feel, or kind of function nicely. I tend to do some things and then I look at it and go, well, that's not right. And then I come back and touch it up either off camera or like the very next thing when I start the next session. At least on here we have something going on, and that's kind of coming down. I can even have that kind of aiming towards the button there. Well, camera's not facing the direction I'm thinking it's facing, so I apologize for that, like the entire session here. It has just not really been working out quite the way I had figured it would. Alright, so a little bit more kind of down. I guess really up on this side. You kind of come in. Oh, I'm not doing much talking. I'm being very quiet, which is not... I don't think that's good. I always assume I just like to have some kind of vocalization going. But then again, we're kind of at the end of the time frame, just about to call it off, and by then, yeah, I always 100% run out of things just to say. But that's, I think, not a bad place to call this one. We have at least one hand gotten popped on. We got the book on there. We got a little bit more of the cloak kind of doing cloak things. Definitely some touching up involved on this half, but maybe off camera I'll kind of touch up this half, and then next time I'm not going to be putting the other hand on off camera. We're doing that on camera, but yeah, we'll get that going, and then we shouldn't be in a good place. So if we get it done fast enough, the next time, like I said, I'll harden in the middle, then we can kind of start jumping onto the face after that. If not, if that winds up being its own session, that winds up being its own session, and that's just what it is. But no, we are making pretty quick and expedient progress on him. And you can see, there we are on the side. We're kind of looking like what we want to be looking like. So I'm okay with that. And that's where we are. And yeah, until next time, until we get to that next hand, enjoy.